everybody. Jimmy Smith doing my pre-fight breakdown, UFC, on ESPN 7. It's the Alistair Overeem versus Rozenstruik is the main event. Interesting card. I think there are a lot of fun fights on this one. So I'm going to do a drive-by of all of them and then dive into the main event. Cody Stamann versus Song Yadong. I think this is going to be a great fight for a couple of reasons. First off, both guys are big 135ers. They're very, very big. But they're big in different ways. Cody Stamann, stocky, more of a wrestler's build, gigantic legs, but thick all the way through, man, just broad. Powerful, he likes to take the center, he likes to move forward, he's very, very aggressive. Both guys fought Alejandro Perez. Cody Stamann got a decision, Song Yadong knocked him out. But when you look at the Stamann fight, he was always moving forward. He was always keeping Perez at the edge of the octagon where he didn't have a lot of space. He was very confident with his strikes. Song Yadong just clipped him, caught him very slick with his striking, and blasted him 2 minutes into the first round. So, certainly knockout power for Song Yadong. Song Yadong big, but also a bit taller, a bit rangier, a bit longer. Just a solid 135er as well, but just a little bit taller, and stands a little bit taller than Cody Stamann. Now, what this might come down to me, is Cody Stamann, I like his striking, I like his aggression, I like his power. He tends to, when you watch his hands, reach out a lot. He almost does a traditional Muay Thai, where his hands are kind of out here a little bit, not here. Also, he likes to drop that lead hand. So he takes some risks defensively when he gets aggressive. He starts kind of patting down the hands and keeping him out here, so hooks can get around that. And he relies on his ability to read punches coming so he can deal with them. He doesn't stay tight here at the chin. Song Yadong, tighter when it comes to the hands to the chin, but stands a little bit higher than Cody Stamann. So the issue in this fight to me is, can Song Yadong catch Cody Stamann with his hands out of position with a big strike? I think he might. I think in this fight, Cody Stamann's tendency to get a little, I don't want to say playful, but a little loose with his hands might catch up to him, because Song Yadong has speed. He's aggressive as well. He has good combinations, good head movement. I think Cody Stamann's willingness to kind of play a little bit and drop the hands and bring him out a little bit, I think that catches up to him in this fight. My pick would be Song Yadong. And what I think will be an entertaining fight. Might not go that long, but I think it'll be entertaining. Aspen Ladd versus Yana Kunitzkaya. I was working the Fox desk when Yana Kunitzkaya fought Cyborg, and it was one of those clear, we don't have anybody right now to fight Chris Cyborg, so it's going to be Yana Kunitzkaya. She had no business being in there with Cyborg. None at all. She's not a natural 145-pounder. She didn't have the experience. She didn't have the size. She didn't have the strength. And it was a blowout. It was one of those, I remember, when we're all looking for things to say that's good about Kunitzkaya. Boy, she really hung in there and showed a lot of heart and guts, and she just got dominated. She just wasn't on Cyborg's level, which, common theme in Cyborg's fights in the UFC. Really wasn't much of a division around her, so they would have to feed her anybody, and Kunitzkaya happened to be that anybody in that fight. Aspen Ladd, of course, but since then, of course, Yana Kunitzkaya, 2 decisions in a row, kind of got her back on track. But Aspen Ladd, coming off the loss to Jermaine Durandamy, this is the important factor to me with this one, is how does she bounce back from that? Because that was tough. Of course, a lot of controversy about the knockout that was stopped a little too early. I believe, they should have let it go a little bit longer. I don't think it would have changed the outcome of that fight. I think Durandamy was standing right over and ready to unload. Should they have let her unload? Yes. I think in a main event fight where someone is undefeated and has earned the right to beat her, which she had. This is not a Kunitzkaya situation where you look at a Cyborg fight and you think, she doesn't belong in there. She belonged in there against Durandamy. She did. She had earned her spot. She got dropped. But I think in most fights, it would have let you take a couple to see if you could get back in it. And she wasn't given that opportunity. That sucks. But I don't think it would have changed the outcome of the fight. I think she would have just taken a few more punches, which, hey, if you're going to get in there, you've earned the right for those few punches. So a little bit of controversy there. I think Jermaine Durandamy was the better fighter and clipped her for sure. It's how does she bounce back? Kunitzkaya is tall for this division. She's skilled for this division. They're both comfortably 135-pound sized, but I think it's the mental side of it. I think it's how do you bounce back from your first loss by TKO, in 16 seconds. There's almost always a down after that. There's almost always a questioning of your abilities and how do I get back into it and all these things. I think a young fighter, which she is, comparatively young in her career, she's only 24 years old, is going to have trouble bouncing back from that, and I think that catches her against Kunitzkaya. Probably a decision. I think Kunitzkaya just kind of ranges her, stays on the outside, maybe gets a takedown occasionally at the end of rounds, but it's probably a decision, and I would go with Kunitzkaya in this one simply because of that mental bounce back. I don't know if she's there yet. What is next? Let me see here. It is Stefan Struve versus Ben Rothwell. Okay, so these are two fighters in the heavyweight division who had very different paths but are in a very similar place right now in their careers. Totally different builds, totally different styles. Stefan Struve is cut very much in the mold of, if you remember Semi Schilt, if you remember Gan McGee, these really, really tall heavyweights that just never use that size effectively. And that's been the story of Stefan Struve. Is he's a giant. He's incredibly tall, incredible reach. He's 7 foot. He should keep opponents on the outside all day. Jab, straight right hand, tight combinations. Make your opponent fight on the outside and try to find a way in. And they're never going to do it, and you're going to beat everybody. And he just doesn't fight that way. He's incredibly disappointing, in my opinion, and frustrating to watch. As a former coach, I'm like, you should just be jabbing like crazy and winning every fight. But he stands even taller than he is. He makes his chin really available, and he likes moving forward. So he negates every advantage he has with his fighting style, and it shows in his record. That's been the problem. Now, the deal here, of course, he has a win over Stipe Miocic. Great. That's ancient history. Obviously, 3 losses, came back with a win over De Lima by arm triangle, but lost to Tibur, lost to Arlovsky, lost to Volkov. No shame in those. Those are great heavyweights, but you got to beat those guys too. Also lost to Jared Rosholt, Overeem, Mark Hunt, Travis Brown, Roy Nelson. A lot of names, but the issue has been his consistency in terms of he doesn't fight the way his build would suggest. And if he fought smart, he'd win a lot more fights. And so that's always been a frustration. It was the same thing with Semi Schilt back in the day. If you remember him, use your height a little bit more effectively. One of the problems is fighters who tend to be super tall aren't that athletic and quick. They tend to be a little gangly and awkward. That's one of the things about great athletes who are tall, like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, guys like that, is, man, it's pretty rare to see a guy that tall who's out of Shaq, who was as big as he was and yet athletic and can move around the court. It's a similar kind of thing in fighting. Just because you're a fighter, because a lot of times they have trouble with that range. They have trouble using it effectively. And the frustration with Stefan Struve, he doesn't really try to use it that effectively. Ben Rothwell was a guy who, especially with the submission win over Josh Barnett, which no one in the world predicted, you really thought he might be a factor in the heavyweight division, that he'd really go on a run and really do something. In that run, he'd beaten Brandon Vera, Alistair Overeem, Matt Mitrione, Josh Barnett. Okay, good. Those are some good names. Maybe he can do something. Then, Blagojev, Andrei Arlovsky. That's bad. That's a bad 3 losses. Of course, excellent fighters. He shouldn't have lost to Arlovsky, meaning Arlovsky, an excellent fighter, very much past his prime. Rothwell should have gotten past that fight. I can understand the Dos Santos and Ivanov losses, both very tough heavyweights. But Arlovsky, a little long in the tooth, he should have won that fight and gotten back on track, and he didn't. That makes me question whether or not he's ever going to get back on track. That being said, I think he gets back on track with this fight. Who knows if he goes on a run again? That could be the past. But Stefan Struve will walk forward like he always does, try to be aggressive like he always does, and kind of play right into the strengths of Ben Rothwell, who's a medium and short-range puncher. If Stefan Struve fought smart, used some footwork, I think he ranges Ben Rothwell all day, but he doesn't fight like that. So what I think he will do, he'll go in, try to scrap, and Rothwell will say, thank you, medium range punches, and end up winning this probably by knockout. Because one thing about Stefan Struve is his chin is hanging right there. It's easy to hit once you're in the pocket, once you're in range, which he allows fighters to do. I think he allows Ben Rothwell to do that, and Ben Rothwell ends up knocking him out. That would be my pick right here. But neither guy in a great place in their career, so it's about who I think mentally shows up, who really believes they can go forward, who really believes they can make a career and put the losses behind them. But tactically, I think right now the tactics favor Ben Rothwell. Marina Rodriguez versus Cynthia Calvillo. Marina Rodriguez, I called her fight in Brazil. Her last no when she got a draw against Ronda Marcos, and it was her inability to deal with the ground game. That was pretty much the reason for the draw in that fight. Excellent combinations, really good stand up, but she couldn't deal with the ground attack early of Ronda Marcos. That was the deal. She came back strong, but it was too late to get a win. Then she beats Jessica Aguilar. She beats Tisha Torres. She gets back on track with those, both by decision. So the strategy for Cynthia Calvillo is make it a ground battle. Make it slow. Draw the energy out of her. Do basically what Ronda Marcos did. The problem is that really isn't her style. Of course, 2 wins by knockout, 3 by submission, 3 by decision. She's well-rounded. She can do a lot of things. I like that a lot. She's on a 2-fight win streak as well. But I think basically the thing for me is that Marina Rodriguez has done better against better talent. She's shown her vulnerabilities, but there are things she could work on. Remember, Tisha Torres has an excellent ground game and couldn't get that going against her. So I think Marina Rodriguez went back to the gym, filled in those gaps, and is a better fighter for it. And she's just a more well-rounded fighter and has better stand-up. So I would say my pick right now would be Marina Rodriguez, probably by decision. That's what you usually have to pick at this weight class. Not a lot of finishes. I think she gets a decision win over Cynthia Calvillo. So the main event of this one, Alistair Overeem versus Jarinzo Rozenstruik. I'm going to do what I can with that name. Alistair Overeem is one of those guys. I have been watching him for 20 years-ish. I've been watching him since the early 2000s, late 90s. Fought everybody under the sun. One of the most skillful heavyweights in UFC history. Just everything he can do. Obviously, incredibly high-level kickboxer. Great knees, great elbows, great leg kicks, great work on the outside, awesome combinations. Great submission game. Really underrated submission game. Great guillotine. Catch anybody in that thing. But what has the factors that really stand out to me when I look at Alistair Overeem, this is a division. The heavyweight division in combat sports has always been a place where an older fighter can be successful. Now, he's 39 years old, getting on the old side. But, George Foreman won a heavyweight title at 46 in boxing. Randy Couture had a long career at heavyweight. It's Andrei Arlovsky did some great work late. It's one of those things where an older heavyweight can do well in combat sports. You don't see a lot of 39 and 40-year-old bantamweights. It just doesn't happen. So he's in a division where a guy with a lot of miles on him and a lot of years on him can still be successful. It's just a matter of, with all the fights he has had, does he still have enough in the tank to make a run? 63 professional fights is a lot. I don't care what division you're in, I don't care how old you are, I don't care how you won those and how you lost them. So he's been through a lot. Does he believe he can make a run? I don't know. He's been through a lot of knockouts. He's lost to Francis Ngannou, KO. Lost to Curtis Blades, TKO. Stipe Miocic, KO. He tends to lose by knockouts. Those take a lot out of you. Also, the frustrating thing, if you're a fan of Alistair Overeem, is he tends to play down to his opposition. He tends to mug a lot. He tends to fight arrogant. He tends to fight really cocky. And that cost him against Antonio Silva, cost him against Travis Brown, cost him against Ben Rothwell. He had no business losing those fights. Those are fights he should have won, especially Silva and Brown. Silva, he was beating Silva and starts mugging, and boom, he gets hit, and it turns everything around. He has a tendency to fight arrogant. He fights like he can't lose, and it costs him. It costs him a lot. So it might come down to the mental side in this one, because Rozenstruik, if you look at the Arlovsky fight, Arlovsky isn't what he used to be, let's be completely honest. I saw a hard hitter with good combinations, good speed, nice left hook. We don't know everything he can bring because he hasn't taken on that next level guy. It's a big step up in talent for him. But I think style-wise, a hard hitter like this is something Overeem deals with really well early in his career. I don't know if he still has the chin and I don't want to say motivation, but it's the only word I can think of to really get up for this fight and believe he can make a run and overcome another young, tough heavyweight. I don't know if he still is in that mental shape. And also his tendency to overlook fighters. If you don't have a big name, he kind of overlooks you, doesn't think much of you, and it's bit him in the ass many times. So this is a big step up. And so Rozenstruik, if we're going to know pretty early how it's going to work. If Rozenstruik steps forward and goes, It's time for me to get the knockout. You're just another name on my list. You're out of here. I think he knocks Overeem out. He probably knocks him out quickly. If he hesitates and stays behind the jab and goes, oh man, big opponent, big lights, how am I think Overeem eats him alive. Overeem's just more experienced and will take over that situation. But if Rozenstruik comes out with confidence, I don't know if Arlovski still has the chin to trade punches and stand up with a guy like that. So my pick right now is Rozenstruik based on that. Based on, I think he comes out with a lot of energy. It's a big opportunity for him, and he makes Overeem pay early. But if he doesn't step out with confidence, here's my caveat. If he doesn't step out with confidence and allows a veteran guy chance and get in the fight mentally and warm up, he's in big trouble because Overeem still has a ton of skills and is still a hard-hitting heavyweight. So right now my pick is Rozenstruik, but watch that first 30 seconds, minute. Rozenstruik stepped forward like he did against Arlovski and puts him against the fence and unloads. I don't know if Overeem can handle that kind of fight anymore. It's been through a lot of wars, and the cliff comes for everybody. Only 5 times undefeated. So those are my picks. I hope you guys appreciate. I will do a post-fight breakdown afterward. Enjoy.